Now, before we actually, you're here to talk about the two hospital model concern that the Township of Perry has, that the towns of Bracebridge and Huntsville had put forward. Now, before we get into that, just for those that maybe aren't aware, just to kind of give people a visual of the scope. So what is the Perry Township area? What's the catchment area? What are the borders there?
The catchment area for Perry Township goes from the village of Novar up just about a quarter of a kilometer past the village of Emsdale, over to the edge of Kearney, and then about halfway between Emsdale and Sprucedale, so about 10 square kilometers.
Okay.
And there's about 2,100, 2,300 population.
And I mean, Huntsville Hospital is obviously the closest hospital to your catchment area.
Obviously, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the towns of Bracebridge and Huntsville put forward that motion, a two-hospital model, some say quite similar to that of the hybrid model that MAHC had put forward. What happened at council recently, at your council, with regards to this motion?
Well, council took a look at it and said it's very similar to what the protest was against last fall on the main street of Huntsville, and what they're proposing is almost the same as what was proposed back then from the Linns, and they're proposing two sites, an A and a B site. And unfortunately, if you have the B site, you're not providing a lot of service to the people in that town. And the concern was that if Huntsville would end up being the B site, it would probably shut down in 5 to 10 years.
Right.
And a similar situation happened with the Burkes Falls Hospital. It's now just a health hub. There's no hospital in Burkes Falls anymore because it became a smaller site and was closed down also.
Okay, so you think there might be a repeat of that if Huntsville was chosen?
And that's the concern. There's a repeat of what might happen. And the other issue that came up is there's a task force in place, and the mayor of Huntsville sits on it, and the mayor of Bracebridge sits on that task force, and it's run by Robert Morton, of the chair of the Linn, and they've had 5 meetings already, and Perry has representation along with the other northern municipalities there, and so does the district, town of Huntsville and town of Bracebridge, and we've not seen a report back from that task force. So to go ahead and pass a resolution saying you're in favor of what was presented the other night at Algonquin Theatre is kind of premature.
Okay, so where do we go from here? So Perry Township has not supported this particular model yet. What are you looking for as of right now?
Well, I think right now we're just sitting back saying, before we can move forward with anything, and I think it has to do with all municipalities and towns, we need to hear from the task force before we move forward. Okay. The other issues that are coming forward, and we hear rumors that the business people in Huntsville are not in favor of what was presented at the Algonquin Theatre, and we hear the doctors from Huntsville are not also in favor of it.
Okay, so now you're wanting to wait for the task force to come forward. Is it the model itself that you're not in favor of, or is it just the lack of maybe consultation with Perry Council? What is Perry Council looking for? What would be your ideal situation if you had to choose what type of model that we would have?
I think what Perry Township and Council is looking for is more of a defined role of what each hospital will be doing. And if there is a single site hospital, whether it be Port Sydney, Huntsville, or somewhere in the middle, I think what we need to know is what will happen to the existing hospitals, what services are still going to be left in our towns, so that we, if we can, it's a long-term project, it's a lot of money, and it's something you need to take a serious look at. If everybody's going to be traveling out of town just for an x-ray, or will they have something here at the existing hospital now, MRI, x-ray, an emergency ward?
How many people use the Huntsville Hospital in Perry Township? Do you have like an average number of how many visits Huntsville Hospital sees?
I couldn't tell you that.
But it is the primary.
It is the primary hospital. Huntsville is the primary hospital.
Okay.
When the Linn did their catchment area, everything from South River comes to Huntsville.
Okay.
So it's a large catchment area. People in Magnetawan have a tendency to go to Perry Sound because it is just a little closer for them to get to that hospital.
So now, what happens next? So you want to hear from the task force. What is council doing right now in terms of this whole issue? So
what we're doing is just keeping an eye on where everybody's going with the issue that's out there. We're not doing our own studies. Might have been a little premature for Huntsville and Bracebridge to get together and do their study when it came back so close to the original plan. It's just, so right now we're sitting back saying we're going to wait for the task force to bring us recommendation forward, have a look at it, In the meantime, we'll continue to monitor what's going on with the LHIN and what direction they're taking, and move forward from there.
Does council have a particular position, and do they like the two hospital, one hospital model? What do you have a
You
position?
know, at this point in time, I don't think council's made a decision whether it's one hospital or two hospitals. I think the issue is it's first of all, it's cost. There's a planning issue trying to move it out of either town. And Bracebridge, leaving it where it is in Bracebridge, the existing hospital land site is capped, it's full. There's no place to expand. Where Huntsville has the opportunity to expand where it is now.
Okay.
And there's a lot of cost associated with moving a hospital out of town. It's water, it's sewer. It's just the infrastructure is huge to try and move it out of town. And Huntsville's sitting in a prime location for that infrastructure to add right on to what they have now already. So.
Okay. And have you been in talks with both mayors since Perry Council has passed that resolution not to support it?
No, I have not.
Okay, you haven't yet.
No.
Okay. Well, you know what? Thank you so much for taking the time to come in studio, speak with us. We'd like to keep in touch with you too.
Absolutely.
I mean, this affects more than just the big towns of Muskoka. It affects the surrounding areas.
Exactly. And for it to move forward, we've been told by the LHINs that everybody has to be on board because it's such a huge project.
Okay.
And it's a huge project if they're staying in two sites or just one site. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much.